Frank Fritz would have returned to American Pickers if he didn't suffer stroke that left half of his body paralyzed. Season 26 of American Pickers premieres on October 9 with Mike, 60, and Robbie Wolf, Chillin' Jersey John, Saleh, and Danielle Colby. Frank appeared on the show from 2010 to 2020. In an exclusive interview with the U.S. Sun, Frank's close friend Jerry Gendro revealed he would have returned to the show had it not been for his health issues. Mike came up with the idea for the show. Mike was smart enough to know the show would be perfect with Frank, Jerry said. My analogy of the two, Mike and Frank, were like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Jerry Lewis Frank was just as important or maybe even more important for the show. It's very hard to be the Jerry Lewis all of the time. I think Frank would have went back, but he had his health issues. And he did have some serious health issues. From 25 or 30 on, he suffered from Crohn's. Crohn's is a bowel disease that causes inflammation in the digestive tract. Jerry explained how Frank became a fan favorite on the show because of his spontaneity. He was truly the comedian who popped out with some of the weirdest and dumbest things that you just go, "Wow," Jerry said. He made a mark on history. Jerry also gave insight into Frank's. He felt really, really bad, he told the U.S. Sun. You would go to see him in the nursing home, and one half of his body was completely done. He would lift his arm up, and it would just drop. That's got to be tough to be totally bedridden. Jerry explained how Frank grew frustrated because he couldn't come out and say what he wanted to say, though some days were much, much better than others. I've seen this when people get tired. They get tired. I think if you don't have the will to live, you won't, Jerry said. I think Frank could have lived a lot longer if the will to live would have been there. Leaving Pickers. Frank left American Pickers in 2020 to undergo back surgery and was officially let go in 2021. Frank revealed his feud with co-star Mike during an interview with the U.S. Sun in 2021. Frank said, "I haven't talked to Mike in 2 years. He knew my back was messed up, but he didn't call me up and ask how I was doing. That's just how it is." The show was tilted towards him 1,000%. I can't even bend that far down to show you how much. That's fine. It's like you've got Aerosmith, and there's Steven Tyler, and he's the frontman. I found my spot. I'm second, and he's number 1 on the show. That's no problem with me. Maybe he does have a problem. He also admitted, I think Mike wants to get his brother Robbie in there to replace me. I don't know why he's behaving like that towards me. Robbie ultimately replaced Frank on the series. Jerry told the U.S. Sun of Robbie, "I've known Robbie forever. Robbie is Robbie. He has always been boisterous. He has not changed. That's Robbie. It's the way he is. I have known Frank for as long as I can remember. He's been like a brother to me." The journey that Frank, Danny, and I started back in 2009, like all of life, has come with its highs and lows, blessings and challenges. But it has also been the most rewarding, he wrote. The support that you all have given us has been a constant reminder of what the show's message has always been. Through these places, people and things, we all have a common thread. We're here to not only take care of the past, but also each other. I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey. A source close to Frank told the U.S. Sun at the time, everything between them is fine. They've known each other for 40 years. They went to high school. They've done all this stuff together. They're very good friends, great friends. In August 2023, a source told the U.S. Sun Frank was even considering a return to the series. I don't know why he wouldn't return to the show. He could go back to the show, maybe, an insider claimed at the time. He watches the new episodes. He'll laugh about it. thought to find something on there to razz them about. He'll tell them about it. The passing comes 2 years after Frank suffered a stroke in his Iowa home in July 2022. Frank was unable to recover from the stroke fully, as he was rushed to the hospital 4 times in 2022 and 2023 for pneumonia and a seizure. He was left wheelchair-bound and returned to a rehabilitation center after the hospital stints. He can walk, but he's always going to need the wheelchair because he can't walk long distances. A source previously told the U.S. Sun in August 2023. Basically, you lose motion. He lost motion. A stroke can affect your left or your right side. It affected his right side. Frank's close friends filed for a conservatorship and guardianship for him in August 2022. Because of his stroke, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur. Documents obtained by the U.S. Sun read. Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. Decisions must be made for Mr. Fritz's care and placement while he continues to recover and receive treatment for his injuries. The appointment of a guardian and conservator was deemed necessary to avoid immediate harm to him. In July 2024, conservator Midwestone demanded Frank's finances be transferred to them because he needed skilled and long-term nursing care at the time. Ahead of the American Pickers premiere, Mike dedicated the season to his longtime friend. He wrote, "It has taken me a long time to figure out what I was going to say, or if I even wanted to post that we have new episodes starting tomorrow night." The timing of this and Frank's passing is not great. However, we have been making shows without Frank for 4 years now, and we have always wanted him to be back with this crew, but he couldn't due to health issues. Every time the crew and I were in Iowa, we would go and sit by Frank's side and let him know how much he was missed, how he could never be replaced, and we will work incredibly hard on every episode to make him proud. As always, since Frank has left, I dedicate this show and all the others this season in his honor. Frank Fritz, once a staple of American Pickers, was the charismatic, rugged half of the duo that captivated millions of viewers across the world. With his keen eye for hidden treasures and a knack for haggling that would make even the most stubborn seller cave, Frank helped turn the show into a phenomenon. He and his co-star, Mike Wolf, scoured the country's backroads and barns, looking for forgotten relics and hidden gems. For over a decade, they became icons of the American spirit of adventure, unearthing pieces of history in the least expected places. But beneath the surface of that fame, a storm was quietly brewing, and it all came to a heartbreaking halt when Frank suffered a stroke that left half of his body paralyzed. The news sent shockwaves through the loyal fan base of American Pickers. Frank, who had already been absent from the show due to personal health issues and disputes with the production, had now faced his toughest battle yet. What should have been a triumphant return to the show he loved was dashed by this life-altering event. The stroke was severe, and recovery seemed like an uphill battle that few could conquer. For Frank, the road back to normalcy was not just steep. It was filled with obstacles that would test every ounce of his strength and resilience.